Welcome back, 7xyourbusiness.com. Another bit of landscape from New Zealand, our diverse country. We've got at least 4 islands, we've got thousands of islands actually. 4 main ones, North Island, funny that's in the north, South Island in the south, Stewart Island down the bottom, and Chatham's out to the east of us. A shortish plane ride out there. Another bit of our beautiful coastline. No Kiwi is really that far from the ocean in a straight line. We're very blessed with that. And very diverse, the North Island, South Island are totally different. If you live here, you know that. If you visit us, come and visit us again. If you haven't been, come and say hello. So it's 7xyourbusiness.com, all about taking the complex and making it simple. Some practical tools, streetwise tools, to make sure that we can serve the stakeholders. So I'll use that languaging for a second before I get a little bit more specific on some learnings from wonderful people like Charlie Munger. Charlie and Warren Buffett, fairly successful, as I'm sure you're aware. Charlie passed away last year in his early 90s, I think, and Warren Buffett just retired at the beginning of this year, end of last year. And both still last year, Charlie, and still presenting at Harvard and all the universities of different universities around the world on business. Legends. And you can get a wonderful book written by them for $30, $40, $16, $10 on Audible and things like that. So continue to have a love of knowledge. So today we're going to look at, I believe we have to be the best. And what does that mean? Well, it's all about getting better. Now, sometimes it's important to do new stuff, but better always trumps new. We get 1% better at 100 things makes a massive difference. And you can jump on YouTube and there's lots of people talking about compounding interest. It's the same for us. Small increases in a lot of areas can make a massive difference to our businesses, can help us move through the intense stages of cash to the intentional stages of profits and invest. And then it can help us start moving the fulcrum away from us so that we have more choice on our time. So what we're going to look at is, what does the best mean? And good friends of mine, Chris and Glenn, helped develop this. And most businesses, to survive, and I use that word survive, have to be good at what they do. And they'll have rituals and behaviour in their business. And the rituals and behaviours will be a reflection of, to start with, the owners, and then as their team grows, it'll morph a little bit, but ultimately it's a reflection of you. Then, to be good, there'll be some generalised principles. There's some things that we're using to take the complex and make them more simple. Gravity is a form of generalised principle. If I drop that, it falls to the floor. It's a generalised principle. It's a law of nature. The day it doesn't do that, we're all in trouble. By the way, we can prove it wrong with science as well, but the majority of the time we want to swim with the flow of the river. Now, it doesn't mean we're just running that way, we'll run that way. If we want to get across a river and it's flowing fast, well, we're going to walk upstream to make sure we get to the destination. So generalised principles help us with that. Generalised principles can be around our culture, they can be around our marketing, our sales, our delivery, can be around our finances, our team and our clients, all 7 pillars. And then to be good, we need a level of EQ, emotional intelligence. The studies are showing us EQ is becoming more and more important. How I understand myself, how I understand others. With AI coming really fast, my personality, my problem solving, my critical thinking, those are the things that are going to be really valuable for us as business owners, but also valuable in our team members. We'll be looking more and more for attitude, going the extra mile, critical thinking, problem solving, and fun to have around, have some personality. I don't mean fun bouncing off the walls, but actually it's nice to have it so we enjoy being part of the same team. I have a very high need for fun, so I'm going to make sure if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. I'll always find a way to make it fun. Other people's need for fun is much lower, and they're good people to communicate with. They've got communication skills, they've got EQ. And then if we want to be the best, we want to be better. How do we get better? How do we do 100 things 1% better? And there's always a story, and that story changes. I've been doing this 25 years, sitting on the board of privately owned companies and owning our own companies, and there's always a story, and that story can change. A business owner, they're going on holiday. The day they leave to go on holiday, a key team member resigns. Well, that story just changed. A business that they grow 100% in 1 year. Well, that story just changed. And the fastest thing to kill a business is strip it of its cash, have a lack of funding. And without understanding our balance sheet and understanding the importance of hitting our budgets when we're growing fast, it's a bit like I've been reading lately and taught by Donald Miller the importance of think an aeroplane, and the fuel is cash. So no matter how good the plane is, it can be the most efficient, beautiful, engineered, run out of fuel at 40,000 feet, it hurts. So it's really important, whatever the story is. And we're always, another mate of mine, Mark, he calls it snakes and ladders as business owners. We get a win and then we're back down the snake and then we find another ladder. And the key is just to consistently get better, better, better. So the story determines, tell me what the story is, what's going on at the moment. Then we look at the generalized principles and go, well, how do we make that more simple? Is it a logical generalized principle, or is it a more principle around EQ, the identity iceberg, or the be, do, have, or faith, focus, effort? Some of these generalized principles that really help us create the habits and the rituals of being a business owner with a $1 million, $5 million, $10 million net profit. A friend of mine years ago said, you'll never meet a $10 million business owner who isn't a $10 million business owner. You're not gonna, we got a wonderful, the lady sevens, the girl sevens, just at Singapore, and they just won again. They're legends, and they play like world champions because they're world champions. And it's the same with us. What are the tools that we need to make sure my identity is growing? How do I develop? How do I get better? And also then that helps determine what we do to be the best. So I believe it's very important we be shareholder focused, all about return of investment, return on investment. Charlie Munger taught us this when he joined Warren Buffett. The context of the story may be partially right, but my understanding was Warren was start off, he would buy companies, and some of those, the balance sheet, the assets would be worth more than the business, and he would sell off the assets, and then they were buying businesses, and some were making really good money and some were inconsistent. And when Charlie joined, he said, we're no longer buying any businesses that aren't shareholder focused. It's got to be about return on investment. Now, some people say to me, Tony, you're all about making money. Well, yes, but to do that, we have to be the best. We have to be the best at marketing, the best at sales, the best at recruiting new team members, retaining our team members, the best at making sure that we're solving people's problems with a solution and getting them the results, making sure we're being very intentional about who our clients are, our customers are, all those things, having a really good understanding as a generalist about money. We don't want to be an accountant, we want to have financial understanding of an entrepreneur, which is totally different. We're not just about compliance, it's actually about how do we drive, how do we lead, how do we achieve goals. So on one side we've got the generalist, one side we've got the specialist. A lot of businesses start off in the specialist side. If you're an accountant, you start up an accounting firm. If you're a plumber, you start up a plumbing firm. Normally what happens, whatever the person's good at, and this is the wonderful book by Michael Gerber, The E-Myth, great book, one of the best books on business, to look at, okay, the specialist becomes a business owner, and the entrepreneur myth is I go from working for an idiot to working to a lunatic myself. So, and as a specialist, I'm industry focused, I'm career focused. So I want to be on the other side. When I'm shareholder focused, I want to know the clarity from the shareholders in writing what they expect this business to achieve. And then we can align with that, and then we can have a written plan and we can execute it like I mentioned in other videos. And there's some great tools at 7xyourbusiness.com on that. And then the other side of it, a specialist is market focused, whereas a generalist is wallet focused. So if a market doubles or halves, it doesn't mean we double the team and half the team. We decide that we're a barbershop with 6 chairs, and actually we want to keep them 90% full. That's our business model. And if we've got too many customers, then actually that's fine. We'll open more hours. We'll put on different shifts. But until we intentionally decide to add a 7th chair, an 8th chair, a 9th chair, with a lot of science and physics behind it to share the shareholders, we're all about wallet share. And we're in line with that. A generalist is about supply. A specialist is about demand. So when an industry is strong, the specialist can normally do okay. When industry is not strong, the market is weak, a specialist as a general rule will have big fluctuations. And generally what happens over a period of time, I think they're Sigmund curves, somebody let me know if I've got the wrong word. A specialist business is quite often, when the market's strong it does alright, when the market's weak it doesn't do so good. And they don't normally only recognise about halfway down the slide that they need to do something about it, or the industry changes, and really they're at the mercy of the market. On the other side here, supply based is we've got extra amount of way of helping people by identifying problems, providing solutions and getting people results, which means over a period of time we've still got the same ups and downs. There's always going to be downs, there's always tough times. Quite often those tough times enable the next push. So this is why we can 7x the net profit over a 7-year period, because we're shareholder focused, we're wallet focused, we're supply focused, and we're very intentional about that picture. And the other great thing about the difference between a generalist and a specialist, it's meant to be a fulcrum. As a specialist, what happens when things get tough, when things don't go right, everybody wants to deal with a specialist. They want to talk to you as the business owner. So when things get tough, the fulcrum moves straight back to you, and for the same effort you get way less result. So you're the one that's making sure all the problems and challenges are solved. Whereas a generalist, by empowering the team, our role is to move the fulcrum away from us. So the effort that we put in, we get a much bigger return. There's a famous philosopher, was it? He basically, give me a lever long enough and I'll lift the world. So leverage is really key. Is from a generalist is all about leverage. How do we leverage? And we leverage through lots of different ways. We leverage through marketing, we leverage through money, we leverage through people, we leverage through systems and process and HI, which a generalist, so general rule, excuse the pun, is quicker to adopt. We don't always want to be the early adopters, but we certainly want to be early adapters to things that work. And over a period of time, the specialist gets left behind and the generalist is able to continue to grow. A big part of that's knowledge, building our knowledge in all 7 pillars of the business. So to recap on that, good is the enemy of great. If I'm good at something, maybe I won't get any better. So really important, I'm good at something, how do I get better? What is the 5 goals I have every week? We love business owners to have 1 or 2 about profitability and 1 or 2 about systems, depending on which stage of intentional or intense stage the business is at. 1 about knowledge and 1 about fun. And if we have 1 goal a week for 46 weeks of the year, it's a massive difference on how we become the best. And those things, by the way, there's no exact science of the path of the snakes and ladder journey. It's always the story. When something changes, there's no point, if we lose a big contract, there's no point let's make sure our IT system's streamlined. So let's get out and pick up new clients. So the story's always evolving, and the generalist will move quickly, will move and look and go, oh, okay, this has happened, what do we do about it? What can we do? What's the outcome we want? What is the expectations of the shareholders? Does that move us towards the goal or away? and it's very powerful. And then we write that goal, we write the plan, and we execute the plan. As business owners, we seem to be very strong with verbal communication. I really encourage us to draw pictures, write things down. The modalities of learning, while there's many, the three main ones being visual, kinesthetic, and auditory. So often as a business owner, I rely on auditory, just talking, and you could be a kinesthetic, and we have all of them in us, by the way, but as a general rule, we have one that's the dominant. And it's the mum or dad teaching their son or daughter how to learn something, and mum's going, I'll show you, and his daughter's going, no, just tell me, no, show me, tell me. So the best way to overcome that is to cover all modalities. You know, redraw this picture, have a fun with it, ask us questions, and really encourage you as business owners, write things down. We're only communicating strongly with 40% of people when we get verbal. We want to get the other kinesthetic and visual people in the game as well. So take your ideas, and sometimes it's, you can see my writing's beautiful and there's probably 8 spelling mistakes on there. That's okay, that's okay. It's about how do we use coloured pens, how do we get people engaged in that learning. So as business plans, it should be something that when we read it, that is very easy to understand, and for us to be able to look at that and go, yep, that will help us achieve the outcome. So go forth and enjoy your day, and if you want to chat with one of our 7X coaches, if you're in New Zealand, it'd be over a coffee. If you're somewhere else in the world, it can be a coffee over the internet. So we look forward to talking to you soon.